So finally, after months and months of searching and frankly uncertainty, the Mets have found the man who will be named their next manager. And that man is a 65-year-old baseball lifer, Buck Showalter. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Buck Showalter, he's a new skipper in Queens, so we're going to talk about all that stuff here today. But first, go down below, hit the red button, subscribe. That's the best way to show your support here on the channel. Also, go over to the bell icon, hit that as well, because that will keep you updated and notify you when exactly I am pumping out great baseball content here on this channel. And if you want to get active, go down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this big move the Mets have made by hiring Buck Showalter. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. Now, as it has been reported on the past couple of days, the Mets were down to a top three when it comes to candidates to potentially fill that vacancy at the managerial position. Of course, their top three candidates, as reported on by multiple sources, was the Houston Astros bench coach Joe Espada, the Tampa Bay Rays bench coach Matt Petraro, along with former Orioles manager Buck Showalter. You know, I will say, I just totally agree with how the Mets went about their managerial search this offseason. And the top three they hone in on. I really do. I think the top three was a great top three, and we're going to go over all of them here in this video. When I heard Espada, Petraro, and Showalter were the top three finalists, I just had confidence in the Mets that whoever they picked, it would work out in the long run for the Metropolitans. I truly did. It really wouldn't have mattered if it was Petraro, Espada, or Showalter in the end. They could have picked Contrada, I would have been fine. Espada, I would have been fine. Showalter, I'm very pleased with. I'm obviously, more than just fine with this move. But frankly, the top three was perfect, in my opinion at least. There were guys out there like Brad Ausmus. It looked like for a hot second there, the Mets were really considering him. And the funny thing is that, Max Scherzer came out after they signed the big right-hander, and he said, I really want Buck Showalter. But he didn't say anything about Brad Ausmus, which piqued my interest because Ausmus was his manager in Detroit back in 2014 when they had, himself, Verlander, Price, the big three in Detroit. Of course, they would lose to Showalter's Orioles in 2014, but that just says a lot to me that if Max Scherzer does not want a guy like Brad Ausmus, why should the Mets consider a guy like that? Because frankly, I don't like him. I think he's a terrible manager. You saw what happened in Detroit and Anaheim, so I'm glad the Mets avoided Ausmus. Little rant there. Had to do it. Now, I would like to circle back to the Mets' top three finalists and just kind of rank them 3 through 1, in my opinion, when it comes to how I view who was best fit for the job and why. So, at number 3 on my list would have been Petraro, and number 2 would have been Espada, and number 1 would have been Showalter. And I will say, Showalter was number 1 before they hired him. This is not just me saying number 1 because I hired him. I really did think Showalter was the man for the job all along, and that's why I'm very happy they got him in the end. Now, I like to go over the reasoning for this list here. Now, the only reason why I had Petraro here at 3 is because he had the least amount of big league coaching experience. Now, although his first professional job came in 2004 as a hitting coach for the Rays Class A team, he did not make it to the majors as a coach until 2014 when the Indians hired him as their assistant hitting coach. So he only has 8 seasons under his belt as a major league coach. On the other hand, Espada had been a big league coach since 2010 when he got the gig to be the Marlins' third base coach and stayed in that position from 2010 to 2013. Then he finally joined the Yankees organization as their special assistant to the general manager, Brian Cashman. Now this is where I believe he had, a leg up on Petraro. I really do. I mean, being the Yankees bat boy is a big deal in itself. Being the assistant to the Yankees general manager, you can't get any better experience than that. You really can't. I mean, the Yankees worked wonders, especially during that time. It was right after they won in 2009, and they were so competitive during that time as well. It wasn't the rebuilding phase, so it was still when the Yankees were trying to win, so he got to see how the big bad machine in the Yankees operated from inside and out. Now, thereafter, in 2015, the Yankees would hire him to go back on the field as their new infield coach, which was a position he stayed in until 2017. Then after the 17 season, he got his current job, which was being hired by the Astros as their third base coach. So obviously a lot of experience for Spada, a lot more than Catrara when it comes to major league time, but in my mind, and obviously the Mets' mind, both of these guys' experiences cannot trump the 27 years of experiences that Buck Showalter has gained in this great game. Now when it comes to Buck, Showalter began his big league coaching career in 1990 when he was first hired by the Yankees. And his first managerial gig also came with the New York Yankees a couple years later in 92 when he succeeded Stump Merrill, the former Yankees manager. Now Buck would remain the Yankees manager for 4 years until, get this, he refused to fulfill George Steinbrenner's wishes of firing his hitting coach, Rick Down. I did not know that. I'm going to be honest. I did not know that. I respect him for doing that. Standing up to the boss like that, taking the hit yourself, mad respect. Then a couple years later, in 1996, Showalter was hired by the expansion Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, he was hired 2 years before the team was scheduled to begin play. Now, the reasoning behind this was because the Diamondbacks wanted to take more order and fill the roles necessary ahead of time before they had to go out there and play. So that's why he got hired 2 years in advance. Now, while in Arizona, Showalter would manage the D-backs to a 65-97 record in 98, a 162 record in 99, and an 85-77 record in 2000. However, after that millennial season, the Diamondbacks decided to fire Showalter, and just like the Yankees did after replacing Showalter, the Diamondbacks would go on to win the World Series the following year in 2001. The next stop for Buck Showalter was the Rangers. He was hired by the Texas team in 2002 to be their new manager. Now, Showalter would stay from 2003 to 2006. While in Texas, Buck would manage the Rangers to a 71-91 record in 03, an 89-73 record in 04, a 79-83 record in 05, and an 80-82 record in 06. So only one winning season in Texas for Showalter, which came in 04. And of course, Buck would eventually get fired from the managerial job in Texas following that 2006 season. Finally, his most recent managerial stop came with the Baltimore Orioles. As you well know, Buck was hired by the O's mid-season, July 29th, 2010, as he was the successor of former O's skipper Juan Samuel. Showalter would take the O's to the postseason 3 times during his 9-year run as Baltimore's manager. He would take the Orioles to October in 2012, 2014, and 2016. While in Baltimore overall, Buck would manage the Orioles to a 34-23 record in 2010. Of course, only a couple games managed. A 69-93 record in 11, a 93-69 record in 12, a 85-77 record in 13, a 96-66 record in 14, an 81 record in 15, an 89-73 record in 16, a 75-87 record in 17, and a 47-115 record in 18. Finally, following that 2018 season, on October the 3rd, 2018, just days after the O's finished with a franchise-worst 115 losses, Showalter and O's GM Dan Dubuque contracts ran out, and the team announced that they would both not be returning to the Orioles the following season in 2019. So as you can see, Showalter has had a true lifetime of baseball experience that involves competing and winning at a high level. And the Mets have a lifetime of experience of losing. I mean, they lose a lot. But what the Mets haven't had is true leadership and experience, which Showalter obviously has. And you know what Showalter hasn't had that the Mets have? A lot of miracles when it comes to baseball success. They really have. I mean, both times they won, 69 and 86 were miracles. Really, especially 69, obviously. But, you know, Buck has not had a lot of luck, a lot of miracles. The Mets have not had a lot of experience at that position of manager. So maybe, just maybe, for the Mets' sake, this will all work out in the end, and Buck Showalter will be the guy to deliver the Mets their first World Series championship since 1986. So that's all I got for today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you get notified when exactly I'm uploading great baseball content here on this channel. Also, leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. I'd love to see that. Also, if you want to get active, go down below. Write your thoughts when it comes to this move the Mets have made by hiring Buck Showalter to be their next manager. And as always, I'll catch you later.